Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Max and welcome to today's airsofting video. So, as you guys know, I did recently purchase the Elite Force Glock 17, which is right here. And what I will be sharing today is just the comparison between my fully custom built Glock that I've built out of Tokyo Marui parts onto a WeTech frame, and then compared to the recently released Elite Force Glock 17s. So again, these are two completely different entities. This one's kind of my Frankenstein Glock because it has a bit of everything on it. So I'll just go ahead and compare the two in this quick video today. Hope you guys enjoy. So as you guys have seen before, this is my fully custom made Glock 17 that I basically converted from a WeTech to a Tokyo Marui. I basically replaced the entire lower frame, the full slide, inner barrel, outer barrel, recoil guide rod, and also the hammer assembly as well. And then of course I have a Glock trademarked base plate. And again, this thing is fully trademarked to the T, and honestly it's even has more trademarks than the actual Glock itself, almost. But so I'm just going to quickly compare the two. And then again, here I have the Elite Force Glock, which pretty much is factory with everything on it. And here's the other side as well. So just kind of starting this thing off, if I'm comparing, we'll compare magazines first. So the magazine I have in my Frankenstein Glock is the WeTech G17 magazine. This one obviously has seen better days. It's like 4 or 5 years old at this point. And here is the Elite Force Glock. So you guys can already tell the difference in the finish. One is kind of the glossy. This one's the glossy one. This one's more of like the matte finish, which the matte finish always looks a lot more attractive in the airsoft world, to me at least. I don't know why. And then here's kind of like a side-by-side image. Again, the WeTech is going to hold about 25-ish rounds, whereas the Elite Force Glock is going to only be holding 20 rounds. So again, both are green gas / propane only, as you guys can see. The well, you can't really see but the mag bases, the valve fills are in both of them for green gas or propane. And then again, here are the Glock base plates that I have. This one is WeTech. This one is Stark Arms. Again, this one has more gloss to it as opposed to the Elite Force, which is kind of like a matte finish. So again, the difference in quality is much different between the two. It's like cheapy and then high end. You guys can already tell. These mags are usually 40, 45, 50 bucks. These are usually like in the 20s somewhere. So again, price point on this is completely different. Now we get into the actual pistols themselves. So again, this one is pretty much, we'll talk trademarks, fully trademarked across the board. Glock 17 Austria 9x19, lower frame, Glock logo down there. Flip it over. We have a serial number on the slide, and then it's kind of hard to see, but a serial number as well on the outer barrel, and then also the 9x19, which is a little tough to see, but it's there. Here, this one has kind of a little bit more to it. So you guys can see that this one has Glock, and then I think it was, I can't even read it. So made in Austria Glock GSMBH, as you guys can see. And then down here, it actually has the patent number down there. So with the Elite Force Glock, it doesn't have that. So let me show you guys the trademarks on the Elite Force. So as you can see, this is factory Glock. Glock 17 Gen 4 Austria 9x19, and then the slide as well has the same thing, Glock with 9x19, and then it's a stamped Glock logo. Flip it to the other side, same thing, Glock logo, serial numbers, this MBS here, official trademark of Glock, or officially licensed by Glock, sorry, I can't read that, and then a blank space down here. The only difference on this one is, okay, so you have a serial number here, and then you have some warning labels here, where on this one, I think you just have the little slide here with the serial number on it. So both are basically the same if we're looking at size. As you guys can see, the thickness is about the same, and then kind of the same type of sights. If we're looking at material build, So on the right here, this is the Elite Force. On the left is my Frankenstein Glock. So just look at the slide finishes. So again, this one, my Frankenstein Glock has Tokyo Marui slide and outer barrel on it. So you can see it's more of a shinier type of a finish. Whereas Elite Force, it's kind of like a matte color. And then same with the actual outer barrel. It looks almost like it's a steel barrel just from the, I don't know, just from the lighting of it. It almost looks like it's a steel barrel as opposed to this one, it's aluminum. Both guns are aluminum from what I understand in terms of slide material. And then again, if we're looking at body styles, there is a difference on the lower frame with the stippling because my Frankenstein Glock is a Gen 3. As you can tell by the stippling and the mag release, it's a Gen 3. And then here is a Gen 4 with different type of stippling and an ambidextrous mag release, whereas this one does not have such a thing because it's a smaller mag release. So again, that's kind of the main differences there. If we're talking trigger pull, the Elite Force has a much heavier trigger pull. I mean, you can definitely feel the spring. And just the cycling of this is incredibly smooth. But again, overall, very nice. If we're comparing it to my Frankenstein Glock, it's definitely a lot harder of a recoil because I do have 150% recoil spring in there. So it really does yank the slide forward really quick. But here's that thing I was talking about with the WeTech wheel. See how it jams up because it's trying to go over that wheel. So, you know, that might be one, if you like let it go slowly, it'll get jammed. This one, not so much. It doesn't even let me, it pulls it back in without a problem. So that's kind of the one design flaw in the WeTech and TMs is they have that crappy wheel thing. Trigger pull on this is very, very, very soft. It's like a hair trigger almost because I did damage the spring on here for the trigger and I had to kind of refabricate it, so it's a little weaker in terms of trigger pull. It's like almost nothing. It just clicks in. The hammer's pretty solid because I do have the garter kit in there. But again, it's like two different worlds when we're comparing trigger pulls between these two. This is much weaker. This is a very strong and sturdy spring. If we compare FPS between the two, so with 0.2 gram BBs, this one's going to shoot a little hotter. My Frankenstein Glock is probably going to be around 320, 330 FPS. I do have a tight bore barrel in here, so it does kind of, I mean, I don't know how much of an FPS increase there was, but this is somewhere around 300 to 320. Usually. I need to get a Chrono to test it out because sometimes I'm not quite sure myself. But Elite Force Glock, it is 290 FPS with the 0.2 gram BBs. Again, it could be a deal breaker for some as they would prefer these to shoot a little hotter. That's probably where the WeTech would win in terms of FPS. The FPS is always a lot hotter on the WeTech compared to these Elite Force Glocks. But aside from that, there's not really a lot of differences between the two, other than, okay, just the cosmetic appearance of it, the power, the BB capacity. I mean, the blowback units are pretty straightforward. The size of the slides is the same. The difference, obviously, the lower frames are both different. You have a Gen 3 and then you have a Gen 4. Again, nothing too crazy. If we're talking price points, we'll pretend that this is a regular WeTech. Again, it's probably borderline between 90 and 100 bucks for one of these for a Wii Glock 17. For the Elite Force, however, it's quite a hefty $169.95. So it's definitely a lot pricier. But again, being that this is a Frankenstein Glock, I invested some good money onto this. So spent, I think, 30 bucks on the lower frame, about 100 on just the slide and outer barrel, another 12 on the recoil, another 30 on the recoil guide rod. Trying to think what else. Oh, the mag release was another like 8 bucks or something. I don't even know what else I did. The mag base on the magazine was probably a couple bucks. But again, you know, when you start modding your WeTech, it's going to rack up the price real quick, as opposed to this where it has everything out of the box, fully trademarked and everything. for the $169.95. I'm probably already $200 in just in upgrades on this thing, plus the gun value. I mean, it's probably closer to $300 that you'll end up spending. But again, that's something out of my own choice I decided to do, so it doesn't quite mean that you need to do the same thing. And then kind of touching on the last thing, the barrels. So my left is the Elite Force, the right is the Frankenstein Glock. So the Elite Force does have a threaded barrel, so you can thread a suppressor on there without any problem. The only thing is the adapter is not the traditional size. You do need to get a larger adapter for it to properly thread something on. For my Frankenstein Glock, unfortunately, there is no threading whatsoever. It is pretty much just a thick outer barrel with, you know, just a smooth inside, and you can't really do much. And then both have rails on the bottom, so you can thread on, or not thread on, but attach laser sight, or not laser sight, but just a laser and flashlight, you know, that sort of thing, if you choose to do so. Striker attachment. But anyway, that's kind of what I have, really, just to show between the two. I'm gonna just kind of come in at a little closer view for you guys, so you can kind of see these up close. So here is the Elite Force Glock, and here's the Frankenstein Glock. So again, you kind of have them both side by side, and then you can kind of tell, okay, there's some pretty noticeable differences when you're looking at the quality of the material. I mean, both are high-end, but you can kind of tell that one is looking a lot nicer than the other. But again, that's kind of just a quick overview of these together. Alrighty, so that kind of concludes the comparison between my Elite Force and my Frankenstein Glocks. So again, there is quite a good amount of differences, and actually a good amount of similarities as well, because these are in the end Glocks, so there's not going to be a whole lot of difference other than parts, cosmetics, power, whatever. Basically anything that I covered in this video today. I gotta just say, I mean, I'm loving the Elite Force Glock more than my Frankenstein Glock, maybe because it's a little newer, I don't know, but that's kind of just how I'm feeling right now. If you guys have any questions between these two, please let me know. I'm going to continue to making more of these Glock type videos, compare and contrast, Mythbusters, that sort of thing. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and definitely check out my Glock playlist if you do love Glocks like I do. There's going to be tons of videos there, and there's going to be more to come. I mean, with this Elite Force Glock, I've been waiting for a while, so there's just going to be a lot more stuff coming down the pipeline. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a good day.